On most Manhattan blocks, a wall between townhouses is only a wall, a matter of masonry, mortar, and fire code. But on East 71st Street, the wall that divides Jeffrey Epstein's infamous residence at number 9 from Howard Lutnick's former home at number 11 has become more than an architectural detail. It is the subject of speculation, insinuation, and, increasingly, the kind of civic inquiry that tests the line between rumor and record. The significance of this wall does not come from any hidden door we already know about, nor from any surveillance apparatus already proven. It comes from the way it sits at the center of a contested story. When Lutnick, now serving as Commerce Secretary, publicly declared that Epstein was the greatest blackmailer ever, he added something more: that he himself had toured the house next door, that he had glimpsed a massage room, that he believed cameras lurked within. In telling this, he planted himself in proximity to Epstein, close enough to seem credible, but not complicit. And if records of payments emerge, he has laid the groundwork for an alternative theory of blackmail. The proximity is the crux. If a financial record surfaces tying Lutnick's name to Epstein, or if his contact details appear in an address book, he can point to the wall. He can argue that Epstein's surveillance devices reached across their shared boundary, that any trace of him is merely the artifact of living beside the wrong neighbor. The wall thus becomes both his evidence of authenticity and his alibi. For investigators and journalists, that raises a series of hard questions. What exactly lies inside the dividing structure? Was it ever altered, pierced, or shared? Do the Department of Buildings permit filings record penetrations in the cellars or risers? Did electrical or plumbing systems cross the lot line? Were there service courts or vaults beneath the street that connected the two properties? Even the absence of such evidence would matter, for absence would mean that the hidden camera narrative rests less on architecture than on anecdote. This is why the paper trail matters as much as the bricks. Architectural drawings, alteration permits, and title records could show whether the wall was untouched, whether it was breached, or whether speculation has gotten ahead of fact. They would also reveal how the houses evolved over time, what structural changes overlapped with changes in ownership, and whether city agencies ever approved alterations that touched the party wall. The broader context is unavoidable. Lutnick's remarks do not just recount a memory, they reframe the public imagination of Epstein's methods. By emphasizing surveillance and blackmail, he primes us to look for tapes and hidden passages. But the likelier danger for any public figure is not a reel of videotape, but a chain of bank transfers, loans, or shell entities that can be dated and documented. If financial records emerge, they will be hard to dismiss as rumor. Yet by steering attention toward cameras, Lutnick makes the absence of tapes look like an exoneration, while paper trails can be explained away as business. And so the wall on East 71st Street is more than stone and plaster. It is a stage upon which narratives compete, one of secret passages and blackmail, another of financial entanglement and paper trails. It symbolizes the tension between what can be seen on a street corner and what can only be pieced together in archives. Until records are gathered, examined, and published, measured drawings, deeds, permits, filings, the wall remains a metaphor as much as a structure. But as long as one side of that wall belonged to Epstein, and the other to a sitting cabinet secretary who now invokes it as part of his public defense, it will not fade into obscurity. The questions surrounding it are not about gossip. They are about the interplay between architecture, accountability, and narrative strategy. Whether the wall separates two private homes or two versions of the truth remains the question only records can answer.